Well, hello, America. Welcome to Culture Club USA. I'm DiBRAVA, and this is Crime and Culture Unfiltered Live. Finally, right? Okay, first of all, I want to say hello to everyone in the chat for patiently waiting. Hello, first of all, to STD58, and congratulations on being cancer-free. We all want to applaud him. Hello to Nate. Elevate with Nate. We have Nikki in the house, the one and only best mod of all time. We have Mr. Nikki. We had Andrew. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate it. Well, hello. Glad to see you too, Nikki. We made it. We beat the odds. I'm defying the odds here. Okay. Now, you know how much I love my true crime deep dives. So tonight, Drupal is in the house. Well, hello. Aren't you supposed to be tumbling people? Aren't you supposed to be in a gym right now watching people tumble? Preparing them for the Olympics, possibly 4 years from now. Okay. Thank you for coming in. Okay. Now, on today's episode of Crime and Culture Unfiltered, we're on the spotlight, okay, for the time-tested trope, and this is for you, STD. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. That is tonight's theme. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. All right, we're going to dive into this because this is a good one. Are you guys ready? Let's begin.
The small coastal town of Neptune City in New Jersey, December 3rd, 2016, 2:46 a.m.
911, where is the emergency?
It's not an emergency. Actually on the Belmar Bridge, right after heading south in the middle of the bridge, there's a car that's abandoned. It's off to the side of the road, but...
The Belmar Bridge being the 35 bridge?
Yeah, the 35 bridge would be going over going from north going south.
Into Belmar?
Into Belmar, yeah.
Hey, did you pass the midpoint? Because up to the midpoint is Neptune, and after the midpoint is Belmar.
So, yeah, Neptune, actually. Technically, it was after... It looked like it was more on the Neptune side.
So what kind of car is it?
Kind of looks like an old, beat-up, light tan-colored, like, sedan.
And what was your name, sir?
So if it's okay, I'd just rather be anonymous.
And this is your cell number?
Yeah, I'm driving Uber and Lyft tonight, so I just figured I'd give a call in. 'Cause it's kind of hard to see, I think, if you're coming the other way.
And was there anybody inside the vehicle?
I looked, no.
So we've got a vehicle pulled over, abandoned on a bridge. It seems like somebody jumped, right? Doesn't it seem like somebody jumped? Okay, I digress. Let's go.
Okay. Unless they were sleeping. I couldn't see them by their head being up. Nobody looked like they were in it.
All right.
Neptune Township Police headed to the Belmar Bridge along Route 35. They did indeed find an abandoned car there, a 1994 Oldsmobile 88. The keys were still inside, the door unlocked, but it was empty.
Now, right off the bat, I know, Nikki. Hello, U-Haul, welcome. You've got an abandoned car in New Jersey, okay? And this is not like a big town. This is a town in New Jersey. An abandoned car parked on a bridge. Okay, no hazards, no nothing. With the keys inside and the door unlocked. Okay, very, very suspicious. Very suspicious. And it's nighttime. So, this is a really interesting one. This is really, really crazy how this all plays out.
It wasn't damaged, so there definitely hadn't been an accident, nor had it been broken into. Police ran the number plate and determined that it was registered to a Lillian Stern, but she was not the main driver, it was actually her granddaughter, 19-year-old Sarah Stern. Some of the detectives even knew Sarah. They knew her whole family. The community was just that small and close. To find her car like this was worrying.
So already, like we said, this is a small town. Everyone knows this girl. They know her family. So this is not a good sign, right?
Can you put me out with New Jersey registration? You started to tell out here.
The car was right on the side looking over the water, and there was a worrying thought that she or whoever was in the car had jumped. A dive team started searching the Shark River below, but it was just too dark, so they had to wait until sunrise. The concern was that if someone was in the river, the currents would likely have swept them away pretty quickly.
Now, I have a question for you guys in the chat. Isn't this car, like, could it be part of a crime scene? Like, did they even scope this car? Are they looking, are they taking, like, are they doing anything in this car? Are they just towed it? I mean, is it smart to even tow it? Like, do you have to go inside to do anything? You don't really have to, right? Like, I'm just wondering how that works. Because you have an abandoned car. Police know who the driver is. They know it's the granddaughter of, you know, a woman in town. They know her. You know, this is a local thing. And you're just towing the car off and, you know, you're not going to scope it. You're not going to, like, get fingerprints. I mean, I don't know. We'll see if they do later, right?
Heading for the Atlantic Ocean. It wasn't very deep, but it was fast and freezing at this time of year. The police called Michael Stern, Sarah's dad, who was in Florida at the time. He hadn't heard from his daughter all day and had tried to get hold of her a few hours before to say goodnight. He told police to contact her best friend Liam and his mum Megan. Maybe she was staying with one of them. With a million things racing through his mind, Michael set off on a 17-hour drive from Florida to New Jersey. His daughter, 19-year-old Sarah, was an aspiring artist. It had been a tough choice between art and sports as she played softball and was on the swim team.
Okay, now, first of all, bring up the footage of her. Okay, so she's an aspiring artist, all right? Already, this girl is a problem. In other words, you're an aspiring artist. So what does that mean? That means you're hanging around unscrupulous people. It's just a fact. You're in the art world, which is like an extremely strange and very difficult world to begin with. I mean, you would have been better off just being on the softball team, getting a scholarship, and just going to college. You know, it's like when you want to be an artist of all, I mean, it's bad enough. Think about how it is. Like, there are certain, you guys understand the industry. Look at what's happening with, like, you know, the music industry, all of the entertainment industry. That industry is hard enough. Can you imagine what it's like to be an actual artist, a painter, like the new Picasso, the new Basquiat, whoever? What does it actually take to become successful in that world? I mean, we saw what happened with the Epstein case, right? One of those girls was an artist that he was sponsoring. So already you're hanging around a bunch of, you know, people that are just questionable. The art world is very questionable. Just making that point.
It had been a tough choice between art and sports as she played softball and was on the swim team, but she decided to study art and TV production at college. She was a frequent face at the various film and arts festivals and conventions, was always out taking photographs, and loved painting the windows of the local schools for the holiday seasons. Safe to say, if it was creative in any way, Sarah wanted to be involved. She referred to herself as a reckless optimist, something one of her friends would say was a spot-on description.
Okay. She's referring to herself as a reckless optimist. And her friends are saying it's a spot-on description. Okay, that isn't good. Okay? Especially when you're in... Now, think about it. I'm in Manhattan. She's in New Jersey. So where do you think she's going for all these art, you know, events and all of these, you know, showcases and trying to get out? She's going to New York. and you're an optimist. You're somebody who looks at everything without ever questioning anything. That is dangerous. That is dangerous, especially for somebody who grew up so close to Manhattan. Like anybody who understands East Coast people, they're always questioning everything. It's like you have to be leery of who you're meeting because there is so much BS in these worlds, especially that world. It's nuts. I don't even understand the art world. I know that there's a lot of scams that go on. People buying paintings that they thought were Picasso's that some Chinaman in Queens remade. I mean, there's even documentaries about it. I'm just saying. All right, I digress.
Going into things head first and always looking on the positive side, even when things didn't go her way. Sarah lived in Neptune City with her father and grandmother. She was an only child, and sadly her mother Carla had passed away from cancer a few years before. Carla had run a bookstore for 25 years and loved travelling, both of which inspired Sarah's creativity and love of seeing new things.
See, and again, very, very sad because this poor girl lost her mother. So you have a bunch of things going on, okay? You lost your mom. Her father at this point is living in Florida, clearly, or maybe he's visiting Florida, but I think he's living in Florida because she was living with her grandmother still in New Jersey. So what does that tell you? We'll see how that relationship is. And you have no mom, you have no father, where you're currently living. So who are you around? And you're in the art world, okay? This is all leading to a mess. All leading to a mess. All right, let me say hello to everybody in the chat. So, howdy, 999, MDB 999. How are you? Who else I saw in here? U-Haul is in the chat. And we have the Common Sense Network. How are you doing? How are you feeling? By the way, STD Common Sense is cancer-free. And we hope you are as well. We hope you're feeling well. I definitely am sending positive energy your way. Bonza is in the house. Hello, 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 and welcome. And we have Cerebrus in the house as well. Okay. I hope you guys are all doing good. Let me know what you think in the chat about artists in New York. And we're talking about the art world, the painting and drawing, the visual. We're not talking about singers. We're talking about, I want to be Picasso. I want to be Basquiat. That is a world that I would never want any part of. Can you imagine how difficult it is to be in and how many people are just telling you nonsense in that world? 999 says, I'm great. Just came to check out the latest video before. What? Okay, something starts. All right. Oh, wrestling? Is that what you mean? Okay. All right. I appreciate you stopping by. Always appreciate all of you guys, by the way. All right, let's get back into it.
As devastating as their loss was, Michael and Sarah were now closer than ever.
190 County.
Okay, so just to recap, so the father is in Florida, but in this, they are saying that Michael and Sarah, that's her father is Michael, the girl that, is missing, his name is Sarah. They're saying that they're closer than ever. So this is odd. Now, he took a 17-hour drive from Florida to come back. Now, I would have been on a private jet. I mean, if your daughter's missing, you don't drive back. You get on a flight immediately. Just a little note.
Than ever.
190 County. Can you see if we have any contact info for the RO? Just try to give them a phone call before the tow gets.
Police towed the car and went to Sarah and Michael's house just before 3:30 a.m.
Hello? Hello? F2C boys? Hello? F2C boys, hello? Let's check down here first.
Weirdly, the lights were all on, and the back door was unlocked. It was eerily quiet as they entered, and it was totally empty. They soon found out that although Sarah lived with her grandmother, she hadn't been at the house since Michael went to Florida, as she was feeling unwell and staying with a family friend. So by all accounts, it was just Sarah and her dog Buddy in the house at the time.
Okay, so she's basically living alone with her dog. They enter the house. First of all, it's 3:30 in the morning right now. So obviously something's wrong, because even if your car broke down at 3, and they're finding it at 3:30 in the morning. Obviously, it didn't just break down at 3:30. They're entering her house. They're towing the car at 3:30 in the morning, and lights are on, and no one's there. Your dog is home alone. Like, already, this is just not looking good.
More worryingly still, they found Buddy locked in his cage. Buddy was the little love of her life, and friends said it was rare that he would ever be in his cage. He was often just roaming around the house wherever he wanted, and wherever Sarah went, she took Buddy too.
Now that's interesting. So what they're saying is that she never put the dog, Buddy, in the cage, even when she wasn't home. The dog, when she wasn't home, usually she would bring the dog with her. So the dog is in the cage, but she rarely puts the dog in the cage. If you left to go somewhere and you didn't take the dog, why is the dog in the cage if that's something she never does? Maybe somebody else put the dog in the cage?
Someone had put him in there and locked it, and it didn't look like it was Sarah. They spoke to the Stearns' neighbour, Robin, and she said there was no way she would have upped and left without anyone to look after Buddy. The fact he was there by himself without food was the biggest red flag. She did say that, oddly though, Sarah had come by her house earlier that day with one of her friends, Liam, to drop off a box of stuff she said belonged to her mother. Sarah had been boxing things up and dropping them at various people's houses. The reason why was unclear. Robin took the box in for her, but later when she texted Sarah, she got nothing back. The officers gave Buddy some treats and made sure he was safe while Michael was on his way back, and reported their findings back to the station. The search for Sarah Stern was now on.
Okay, so she was boxing things up and dropping it off at people's house. That's an interesting note. Because if she's so close with her father and they talk all the time and they're closer than ever since the mom passed, wouldn't he know of this? Wouldn't he know about her boxing stuff up, dropping, if she was moving, if she was going somewhere? Like, why are you boxing things up and dropping it off at friend's house? Like, I don't understand. It's confusing.
Given where they had found the car, the keys still being in there, none of her belongings around, and right over a river, they had to consider the possibility that maybe she'd jumped. But her dad said, no way. Sarah had definitely had a tough few years, but she was now more positive than ever for the future. She had big dreams, an amazing circle of friends, and nothing was getting in the way of her achieving what she wanted. Her list of upcoming plans was long. A local restaurant, Bruno's Pizza and Sub Shop, had reached out to her about painting a winter-themed mural on its window. At Christmas, she had plans to go to New York to watch a show on Broadway, and was set to go to bartending school so she could work at night and focus on her art during the day. The following summer, she was planning on moving to Canada permanently with her dog Buddy, to live with other family members. She had just bought a TV to give to her grandmother for Christmas, and she had a hovercraft on order for when she finally did move. She loved Canada and was frequently flying out there. It was a place she could see herself living forever, and the change was what she wanted. And looking at her short-term plans, she was going for dinner with a friend the following day, and had some art projects to be working on. Her dropping off the grid didn't make sense. It seemed that one of the people to last see Sarah was her old friend, 19-year-old Liam McAtasney.
Okay, right there. I mean, just the looks of him. I mean, this is bad. You can't really judge a book by its cover, right? But, I mean, come on. He's the last person that saw her? Him? Now, right off the bat. Right off the bat, I mean, what is your gut telling you? Your gut is telling you something's not right. Now, she liked Canada. Apparently, she was moving there. Okay, that could be why she was boxing things up, dropping stuff off, maybe giving things away because, if you're moving that far, to Canada, you are down, sizing a bit. All these things add up. Now, her dog being in a cage when she never caged the dog and in the house alone, that makes no sense. Her keys being left in the car? If the car broke down on the bridge and you locked the door and left, that makes sense. But you don't leave the keys in the car. Like, none of that makes sense, because what other keys are on those keys? That's an older car. It's not like one of these cars that, like the new key fobs. These are keys. So I'm assuming that there are other keys, like a house key, other keys on that key ring. Maybe I'm wrong, but I would say I would bet my life on that one.
Year-old Liam McAtasney, the same Liam that helped drop some bits off to Robin's house. They'd known each other since they were 6 and stayed very close since meeting in Sunday school all of those years ago.
Okay, right there. Well, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. So the frat boy, Liam, and Sarah, the missing girl, have known each other since they were 6. Yeah. Bit of a red flag. And he's the last person to see her?
So close, in fact, they had even spoken about moving to Canada together. When Michael heard his daughter was missing, 2 of the people he first suggested they contact was Liam and his mum, Megan. They hung out all the time, so there was a high chance he had heard something. Megan opened her door that morning to officers. When they said they couldn't find Sarah and were worried for her well-being, Megan said, "I'll call her, she'll answer for me." But her phone just went to voicemail, and her normally blue iPhone messages were being delivered as green. Megan told police where they could find her son, Liam. He only lived around the corner with 19-year-old Preston Taylor, another close friend of Sarah's. Preston had even taken her to junior prom. In fact, Liam, Preston and Sarah called themselves the Squad. It was just one of those friendship groups that everyone expected to see together all the time. Where one of them was, the other 2 would likely be not far behind. Despite the occasional jokes from other people about romantic relationships between them, it was nothing but a solid friendship group. Nothing romantic at all.
Okay, so how do you know that? How do they know that? So you've got these 3 here. Okay. And there was nothing romantic, supposedly. But people would make comments about it. So, what is actually going on here? So you're a girl and your 2 best friends are boys. I don't know. Both of them look suspicious to me. I mean, the fact that the father called Liam, which is the one with the striped sweater on, the minute he found out his daughter was missing, he called Liam and Liam's mother. Okay, somebody's in trouble here. All right, let me address the chat. Nikki, thank you for holding down the chat, by the way. Although I don't know what's going on, but thank you. Thank you for holding down the chat. All right, what are we saying in the chat? Darius, thank you so much. Darius Coleman just turned off airplane mode. Hate I'm late. You're the best. Thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it. STD58 says, secret love triangle. Someone got jealous. Now, that's kind of what I think. I think that there's something going on. And I haven't figured it out yet. Who likes who and what is actually going on. But there is definitely something really fishy with those 2 boys and her. Somebody likes somebody, or maybe she likes one and the other is jealous, like you're saying. Or maybe she doesn't like either of them and one of them got mad and killed her. I mean, I don't know. Could be anything. Maybe, you know how girls are, we have to be realistic. Girls can oftentimes lure men in as friends, and the men will think that they're interested, and because they're not really clearly letting them know, they're leading them on to something that's never going to be existing. You understand? I mean, the fact that they said earlier that Liam was discussing moving with her to Canada. Now that sounds like you're oh, fine, you're best friends. Okay, great. I get it. But you're moving to Canada with her? Suspicious. Suspicious. Not even Black Betty. Are you talking about that movie, Nate? Elevate with the name. Are you talking about that? Are you talking about the Black Dahlia? Just landed in Denver, heading to Houston. Very safe travels, Darius. I hope you have a great time. I think you're visiting your dad, right? Very cool. Ghost 1978, thank you for joining us. He says maybe the guys liked each other. It's very possible. That is very possible, Ghost. Very possible. Maybe they were trying to kill each other and by accident killed her. Maybe she was trying to break them apart. Who knows? It could be a real strange love triangle going on here. Billy D is in the house. Welcome all. Hello. Shouldn't you be sleeping? Shouldn't you be sleeping? You are amazing. Billy has been around the channel since day one. Day one. Appreciate you more than you know. Okay, let's get back into it.
It was just one of those friendship groups that everyone expected to see together all the time. Where one of them was, the other two would likely be not far behind. Despite the occasional jokes from other people about romantic relationships between them, it was nothing but a solid friendship group. Nothing romantic at all.
Liam. You Liam? You got a second? Can I come in and talk to you real quick?
Yeah, no problem, officer.
Is Sarah here by chance?
No.
When was the last time you talked to her?
I was with her today.
What time?
Before I went to work.
So it was earlier today?
Yeah.
When was the last time you had any kind of contact at all with her? Turn some light on if you don't mind.
I mean, we went to get food today.
And you went to work at what time?
4:30.
Okay, so you haven't talked to her since 4:30? You have a cell phone you can reach out to her on?
I actually haven't been able to find my cell phone.
So you haven't been able to talk to her, you don't know where your cell phone is?
No.
Liam told them he had seen her the previous day, but he hadn't heard from her in the last few hours. He'd been at work, lost his phone, and then went to bed. He'd been at her house earlier that day, helping her move some things around. There were...
Okay. First of all, the body language on Liam. I mean, clearly what we just watched, the police just showed up at his house. Okay, it's dark. There's no lights on. The cops have to, one or however many are there, had to ask him to turn on some lights. He's like out of it. And look at his body language. Bring up that footage of him. Look at this. It's like, does he look like he's in shock? So, I mean, here he is. They're like, turn on the lights. He's like talking. There's blackness. Look at this. So he's scratching his head, already nervous, right? And look at this. He just looks at the cop. Look at the kind of expression on him. No shock, no nothing, okay? Look at this. How could you be this calm? This is a girl that you were glued to her hip, you and your other friend, okay? The three of you. Together all the time. You've known her since you were 6 years old. And this is how you act when the police come and say she's missing? They're asking you, let's think about this. The cops are asking him when the last time he saw her was. Earlier that day, right? Now, if the police came to my house and said, like, when's the last time you saw your brother? The first thing I would be like, what do you mean? What's going on? Is everything okay? What happened to my brother? I saw him yesterday. What is happening? Like, I would be in a fit. He's like, I saw her earlier today. Then the cops ask him about her phone. If he called, can you call her? And then Liam's like, I don't know where my phone is. So you don't know where your cell phone is. Your own cell phone. You haven't asked once why they're asking or what happened or anything. I mean, it's still the police. I don't care if the father called Liam and said she's missing or not. The first thing you ask is say, listen, her father called me. What is going on? Did you find anything? What is happening? Tell me everything. This is my best friend. Like, what is happening? Nothing. Okay? Nothing. Crazy. All right. Just wanted to make that point.
Cell phone is?
No.
Liam told them he had seen her the previous day, but he hadn't heard from her in the last few hours. He'd been at work, lost his phone, and then went to bed. He'd been at her house earlier that day, helping her move some things around. There were even 3 crates of her mother's belongings in his apartment. The pair had driven around for a bit and grabbed some lunch from Taco Bell at around 2:30 p.m, but then he left her to go to work at 4. Liam said that Sarah had recently confided in him that...
Now, First of all, thank you, Darius Coleman, again for the super chat. Don't tell me they act like... I don't know what's going on here. But listen, Darius, thank you for the super chat. First of all, did you hear what that woman that's narrating this just said? Liam, the friend, had 3 crates of Sarah's mother's, her late mother who had passed, for those of you that have just joined us. Her mother passed away of cancer. Why does Liam have 3 crates of her mother's belongings in his house? I mean, hello, he's in trouble.
After her mom died, she'd found a shoebox containing thousands of dollars of cash hidden in her family's second home.
Okay, now, here we go with the cash. Here we go with the cash. It's always about following the money. As Nikki would say, follow the money. Follow the money. Welcome in, HOTR News. Welcome in. Nikki, can you put his link in the chat? Everybody needs to follow him. He is part of the amazing auditor community. Okay. I digress.
Liam said that Sarah had recently confided in him that after her mom died, she'd found a shoebox containing thousands of dollars of cash hidden in her family's second home. Inside was a note saying it was Sarah's inheritance. A lot of the cash was not in the best condition. It was old notes and some of it was stuck together. But the pair had talked for ages about how, if she could get that money accepted or into a bank, it could help her achieve her dreams of becoming an artist. Sarah's aunt confirmed this too, saying Sarah was keeping some of the cash in a fireproof box in her bedroom. The rest she had put into a safety deposit box at her bank. She was a little concerned when Sarah told her she'd revealed all of this to Liam, as they had agreed to not talk about it. It was a large sum of money after all, and it was best that she didn't make it obvious that she had it. But Liam was her most trusted friend, and he knew everything that went on in her life. They asked Liam why Sarah might want to disappear, and he said that despite what her father had told them about her positive state of mind and all of her upcoming plans, he saw things differently. He said that a few years ago she had made an attempt to take her own life, fueled by arguments with her dad and the death of her mom.
Okay, first of all, this child is talking too much. Why now? Come on, we know he did something. Clearly, okay? You don't ask about where she is. Have you found anything? You know, you're not concerned, but you're telling the life story about her father, and despite you're already giving a conflicting story to the police and making it as if her father is lying. Number one. Number two, she has all this cash, some of it in a fireproof box, in a shoe box that she found when her mother passed, saying it was her inheritance. You know how it goes when people know cash is laying around. Okay? I'm just curious to know how much that cash had to do with her death. Because clearly, everyone knows that she told these two about the cash. I mean, it's like unbelievable. Follow the money. Right, Nikki?
Keep looking for your cell phone, man, because we're trying to find Sarah. What was her mindset last time you talked to her?
I just know she's been trying to get away. She told me she's going to Canada.
Trying to get away, okay. Canada, she been real depressed lately?
Her dad is crazy.
Okay, and then she's dealing with the loss of her mother. Her dad's in Florida right now, right?
Her dad, yeah. He's coming back today, I guess. So.
Where's her grandma?
Grandma's actually sick.
Where's your grandma at right now? She's not at the house.
Staying with some family.
We reach out to some friends, maybe hit our message on social
I
media.
definitely will.
Or reaching out to somebody, see if anybody's talked to her, or when they talked to her, what her mindset was and all that, all right?
Planning on getting a phone.
Michael was confused and upset when he'd heard about this. He knew Liam and loved him. Why had he accused him of something so hurtful? Had things been trying for them, of course, but arguments? They hadn't fought at all. They had a great relationship, as did Sarah with his new girlfriend. They would text each other all the time and share everything. In fact, it was obvious from their text thread that the only day they hadn't spoken was that very day. It was also the only time her iPhone messages had been delivered as green when talking to him.
Now, first of all, I have to address this chat. HOTR News says Fannie Willis keeps it in her mattress. Now, that's funny. That's a good one. Yes, we know she keeps it in her mattress, right? And she doesn't pay taxes on it either, apparently, right? I mean, my God. Lord help us. This country is in such a mess. Okay, now, I want to make something very clear. This kid, Liam, this conversation that he's having with this police officer, he's talking about Sarah, the missing girl's father, okay? All of these statements he's making about her own father, that their relationship wasn't this, and, you know, all of these things. Meanwhile, look at these text threads between Sarah and her dad. They were talking every day, and she is in group chats with her father's new girlfriend and her father. And clearly the relationship was great, at least from the text messages. And now you have Liam over here giving a whole different side of the story. It's like, what is he? It seems like he's trying to put or pin this crime on this girl's own father. It's almost like he's setting up the father. Now, is he smart enough to do it? We'll see. Darius, thank you again for the super chat. Thank you again for the super chat. Oh, you are the best. Yep, that's Jack move, yeah. I mean, I wonder where the money that he took is, because you know he got a hold of that money somehow. All right, it gets better. Here we go.
She had never been reported missing before, never left Buddy unattended, and never been out of contact with people. Police did wonder, though. Did Liam know where she was? Was he covering for his friend running away? He would likely have been the first person she had told anything to, and detectives had to wonder if he knew more. CCTV confirmed that they had both been at the Taco Bell for lunch, and a neighbour's security camera also showed the pair coming and going from Sarah's house all day. And Liam driving away to go to work that afternoon. He was picked up working his shift as well. Later that evening, however, a few hours before the police showed up at the bridge, at around 11:45 p.m, Sarah's car was spotted leaving her driveway. But there was no way of telling if it was her behind the wheel or not.
So that's the last time that there's any kind of recording or that anybody had seen her. We haven't heard that anybody saw her after that, and we just don't know what happened after that. We're trying to solve this by having the search. We just want to see if something happened over by that river, and we want to be able to get Sarah back. Coming out of the Shark River Marina area in Belmar and Avon, Shark River Hills and Neptune City, that area, and I think part of Wall Township too. So it encompasses a big area. It's a big stretch of water, and we're just trying to get as many people out there as possible to just see if we can uncover anything. Everybody that talked to her in the days leading up to that, she seemed just fine. So, and you know, it's a mystery. It's a mystery, and it's shocking, and it just takes my mind to another area, and I just know it's very depressing. It's very hurtful and sad, and it's not a feeling any parent or anyone should have with anybody that's close to them or any loved one. Where are you, Sarah? Give us a call. Come on home. Buddy's waiting for you. Buddy's her dog. She loves the dog, and I just don't understand why we haven't heard from her.
Okay, first of all, let's reel this in. That was her father, clearly, right? He's talking as if she ran away. Now, why is he doing that? Because Liam is telling them that she wanted to get away, that she was trying to run away to Canada or somewhere else. He's almost making it as if Sarah and the father have there's some turmoil between them or some kind of argument, or the new girlfriend she doesn't like or something ever since the mom passed, and that she was trying to get away without anybody knowing. Now, that just doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. You're in a small town. Everyone knows you. Okay? The police know you. They know your grandmother. You're living with your grandmother, your dog. So you left your dog locked in a cage. She never caged her dog. So none of this adds up. And Liam is doing a lot of talking. Now, also, this is how crime affects culture and culture affects crime. Because in today's culture, guess what? There are cameras everywhere. You aren't getting away with anything, okay? Even cops that try and turn their cams off, Okay, watch watch his channel, okay? HOTR News, okay? Watch some of his stuff. You can turn your cop cam off, but guess what? Somebody else is filming. The house across the street, their surveillance is on. There's tons of stuff like this that happen that are not going to allow you to get away with this. So we know that what? They were going back and forth from Sarah's house all day. Liam and Sarah. What were they doing? What were they doing? Okay. Let's keep it moving. Let's see where this ends up. Where does this end up?
Liam was, by all accounts, still the last known person to have seen her that day, so on the afternoon of December the 3rd, they went back to see if there was anything he was neglecting to tell them. His story was the same. He'd met her for lunch, they'd hung out, and then had gone to work, leaving her at her house. He maintained that she wasn't in the best headspace and was keen to get out of New Jersey. Yes, everyone else was saying something different about her state of mind, but Liam had a special relationship with her. So, was his version of events the truth?
I've been friends with her since first grade, so we have a pretty good friendship.
What's going on? Just give me what's...
First of all, just look at him. I mean, hello, what are you doing? You're talking about your best friend with like, who are you? Like, you got Ray-Bans on to talk to the news about your best friend since 6 years old, and you're just like looking like some cool, like, what are you, auditioning for a movie? Like, who does he think he is? Like, he looks like somebody in that old, like, that Footloose movie or something. Like, what are you doing? Are you Tom Cruise? What is this?
What's going on with her? Like, how's she been acting lately?
The
same? Different?
No.
Liam, you've known her since first grade, you said.
Yeah.
Has she been different than normal lately?
Well,
and for how long?
In the past, she has had a tendency to have self-destructive, suicidal behavior. I actually know that.
How long ago?
Years ago.
And what was it that she would be self-destructive and suicidal?
Sorry. It was over...
Stepping on you.
Over something her dad did. I'm not too sure, because it was, I think it was my freshman year, sophomore year of high school.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in my second year of college right now.
4 or 5 years ago.
But I remember being with my girlfriend. She was completely obsessed with my girlfriend. And something happened with her dad. My girlfriend had to leave to go take care of her, because she was saying, you don't come here right now, I'm going to kill myself.
So she's made comments like that in the past?
Yeah. Over the past few months, she's been telling me, how bad her relationship with her father is, and how she just needs to get out of here.
Why was it bad? What made it bad?
Fighting.
Dude, if you know anything about where this girl is or had any contact with her, you need to let us know.
Believe me.
And exactly what it was that you had spoken to her about yesterday afternoon before you went your way and she went her way, you need to open up and let this detective know everything. Yeah. And again, Liam, we've said it a couple times. I'm going to throw it at you one more time, dude. We just want to make sure she's okay. Nobody's going to get in any trouble here. We just got to make sure that Sarah's all right.
Liam was cooperative and wanted to help as much as he could, and he volunteered to sit down for a recorded interview.
Is she in Canada? I can tell you. I can honestly tell you that. I'm one of her closest friends, and I have no idea why she wouldn't tell me anything before she left. Like the last time I say goodbye to her, it was just like any other day. Like, see you later, I gotta go to work. Nothing. She didn't say anything.
Did she have her phone while you were there? Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw her phone. You haven't been able to find her cell phone. I don't know if you guys can tell me that.
Do you know where her cell phone is?
No, I have no idea. But probably on her.
During the interview, he spoke more about Sarah having suicidal thoughts and the awful fights that she and Michael had allegedly been having. He was now calling Michael threatening, and even accused him of stealing money out of her inheritance.
You know her family?
Yeah, I know some of her family.
You know her dad?
Mm-hmm.
What's her relationship like with her dad?
Not good. When her mom died, she had money that was supposed to go to her. Her dad took that from her. That's kind of been the big thing over the years that she's always said. Her dad took money from her, dad took money from her. She definitely has some trust issues. Believe me, I've done nothing but just try to find out if there was any physical violence between her and her father. I've always been trying to get that out of her. She's never told me.
Suddenly, he said something that changed the tone of the interview. Something odd.
One thing I want to talk to you guys about was she did jump off the bridge. What are the odds that she's not somewhere all the way out in the ocean? But
What did he do? Bring that back. I got to bring that back. Listen to what he's asking. Is he... Now, this is an idiot. Okay? This is a kid who thinks that he's going to outsmart the police. Are you nuts? Darius Coleman, thank you again for the super chat. Talking to 5-0 with no lawyer, never a good idea. Especially with his mouth. Listen to what he's asking. This is crazy. He's asking the police, if she did jump off the bridge, would her body, it's kind of like he's like, would her body have drifted off? Or like, he's just trying to see if the body's going to float up. Like, why would you ask a question like that? Wow.
jump off the bridge.
Listen to this. Here comes the question.
Never told me.
Suddenly, he said something that changed the tone of the interview. Something odd.
One thing I want to talk to you guys about was if she did jump off the bridge. What are the odds that she's not somewhere all the way out in the ocean? But and did she tell you she was going to jump off the bridge? No.
What a strange thing to ask, detectives thought.
If she had told me that she was going to jump off the bridge, there would have been no way that I could have gone to work that night. I went to work and I had one of the best nights of my life. I made a bunch of money. All my tables were good. I had a great time. It definitely, I would not have been able to do that if I knew something.
But before they could press him anymore, they got word that his parents had contacted a lawyer on his behalf, who, of course, told him to stop talking. The interview came to an end.
Of course it came to an end. Of course it came to an end. I mean, that is crazy. Let me see what the chat is saying here. Okay, Nikki, no eye contact, trying to read the story off the table. Yeah, exactly. HOTR News. Good night, Billy. Oh, Billy left. Good night. Billy is in a whole other land, in a different time zone. We appreciate Billy. Very much appreciate. SCD said, have a great night, Billy, too. Okay. She's shaking head while... Yeah, exactly. Nikki, shaking head no while saying, believe me. Exactly. Okay? Body language, STD 58. Absolutely. Elevate with Nate says this is an inexperienced liar. Experienced liars are much harder to read, but not impossible by any means. I agree. I mean, let's just backtrack for a second. Let's do a tiny recap here. So when you saw him with the sunglasses on with the Ray-Bans, he's literally telling the cops and the news that the father and her were arguing, and now he decides to sit with the police before his parents disrupted that with a lawyer. And he's telling them that he's been trying to find out if there was any physical violence between her and her father for years, and that she had said that her father was stealing her inheritance. Okay. You just gave yourself away. Then you dug yourself a deeper hole by asking that if she had jumped off the bridge, which now I'm assuming that you threw her off the bridge, if she had jumped off the bridge, would her body just be floating up the Hudson somewhere? I mean, what an idiot. What an idiot. You have to be kidding me. You know, it's mind-boggling what people will actually do for money. Okay, I digress.
On the day she had vanished, cameras from Sarah's bank showed her coming in to withdraw $7,000 from the almost $23,000 in her safety deposit box. Liam had been with her in the car. This was around the same time that they got lunch at Taco Bell. So why only mention Taco Bell? He already told them about the inheritance, so why not just say she took money out? And as they knew, Sarah's car was spotted driving away from her house at 11:45 p.m. And although Liam was supposed to work until midnight that night, he actually clocked off at 10 p.m., meaning he did not in fact have anything to cover him for those few hours. The next person to talk to was Preston Taylor, Liam's roommate, and also Sarah's good friend. Preston was a lot less talkative than Liam, but he did confirm Liam's timeline and said that what his roommate told him was the same as what he'd told the officers. So what did he think happened to Sarah, they asked. Tearfully, he said he thought she had jumped off the bridge. Arguments with her dad, possible depression, still dealing with grief. There was a long list of things that might have driven her to this, he said.
Police were at your house. 4 o'clock in the morning. She's missing. You just find out that her car is found on the bridge. And now Liam is telling you that he was with her. You don't remember anything that he said to you. Is that, am I understanding that correctly? Yeah. You have no recollection at all about what he told you he did with her. Did he say that he was at her house? Did he say that they went to the movies? Did he say that they went to the beach? What did he say they did? If you did say anything, I missed it.
As detective.
Okay, now, hold on now. Okay, now I could be totally off here. Maybe this is the one that killed her. I mean, I don't know. He's a lot more, he's quiet. He's not talking. He clearly doesn't want to incriminate himself. Now, the other one could just be some dumb talker talking his way into, trouble. But meanwhile, this, who knows? What is this? What does he have to do with it? The whole thing is strange. And where is the father now?
As detectives left the room, they turned to each other and shared a look. There was no doubt in their minds. Both Preston and Liam knew more than they were saying. They knew what happened to Sarah, and the police knew she had not jumped off that bridge. And why would she have run away and not taken anything with her, including the inheritance? It was not a secret that she had wanted to move to Canada, so there was no need to do it all secretly.
Okay, that's the first part. That's part one. Now, there's one more part to this. Now, we're going to see what actually happened. Now, the thing is, okay, let me see what the chat is saying. But the thing is, we really don't know what actually could have happened here, right? I mean, it doesn't make sense, though. The circumstances leading up to that car being on the bridge, okay, with the keys inside and the door unlocked, her dog home alone, locked in a cage. She made a trip to the bank prior to that, went to Taco Bell with Liam. I mean, none of this is looking good for these boys. That's all I'll say. Because so far, how does the dad even, what is this even? There's really no evidence proving anything that the father had anything to do with this. Liam has got 3 boxes from her deceased mother at his house of her deceased mother's belongings. He's going back and forth doing trips with her all day. He's at the bank with her. They're at Taco Bell. He's the last one to see him. His phone is missing. I mean, it's just all of it. He said he worked late and he got off at 10. Meanwhile, she goes missing after that. It doesn't add up. Okay, let me see. What is going on in the chat? Darius says, this interview footage go to trial, guilty ruling all the way. I agree. It seems to me like these boys, I'm not sure which one actually did it, but I think they both know what happened. And they may both be involved. Maybe not. Maybe one is covering for the other. Maybe one is trying to throw the father under the bus because they hate the father. Maybe the father wouldn't let her date one of them. Maybe Liam, is in love with her and the father would never let her date him. Who knows? This could go so many ways. Like somebody else said in the chat, maybe Liam and the other guy are in love. I mean, maybe she was trying to break them up. I mean, who knows? We just don't know. We don't know. STD says, where is the money? Follow the money. Isn't that sad how that's always the case? Always the case. Chris Mike, welcome in. Chris Mike says, number 1. Suspect number 1. I agree. I think it's Liam. Guilty conscious. Nikki. Okay, let's get into part 2. Let's see what really happened here.
It's been a full week since 19-year-old Sarah Stern of Neptune was last seen, and now her family and friends are organizing a search party.
Family going to, if you will, take matters into its own hands, get a search party together.
It was now almost a week since Sarah had last been seen.
She's pretty strong, so hopefully we're gonna find something today.
Both Liam, his twin brother Seamus, and Preston, along with almost 200 people, broke into groups and braved the near freezing temperatures, searching for almost 12 hours each day. People were advised that they would be searching at their own risks due to the weather, but that didn't deter anyone. Divers had been searching the river for several days, but to no avail, and helicopters didn't spot anything either. When the river search came up empty, the New Jersey State Police Missing Persons Unit and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children joined in as well. But there was absolutely nothing, not a single clue anywhere. Time was ticking by, but finally they would get a break. A fellow student, Anthony Curry, had attended high school with Liam, Sarah and Preston. He was a budding young filmmaker, and he and Liam, a huge film buff himself, would often talk about movies together. Liam loved horror and coming up with ideas for plots. Anthony asked to talk to the police about a conversation he'd had with Liam just a few days before Sarah was reported missing. At the time, it hadn't stood out to him as anything, but the more he thought about it, the more bothered he had become by it. Liam said that he had come up with a plot about a man killing a woman by strangling her to death to steal some money she had recently found. After she was dead, the man asked his friends to help him dispose of her body by throwing her off a bridge. They would then make it look like she'd jumped. The pair would then bury the money in the park and return to it later and become rich. Anthony said Liam was really excited about the idea, grinning as he told him, bouncing around like an energetic kid.
Oh my God. The filmmaker from the high school is the loose end. My God. You have to be kidding me. I did not see this coming. You know what? People always talk, no matter what. The audacity of these two to tell a story like that, this is crazy.
At the time, Anthony said it didn't really stick out. They always spoke about films, especially horror, and Liam could sometimes be, in his words, a little weird about things. However, what made it stand out was since Sarah went missing, Liam had reached out to him on Snapchat every single day, asking him to talk in person about something. Liam wanted to know if the police had spoken to him, and had they mentioned his name. This is when the plotline he'd mentioned suddenly came back into his head. Anthony thought about where her car was found on the bridge and wondered why, if Liam wasn't involved in any way with her disappearance, would he be worried? Snapchat is designed to automatically delete all one-on-one and group chat snaps after they have been viewed by the recipient, so it was also a little telling that he wanted all communication done via that app. Fortunately, as Anthony's suspicions had started to grow, he had taken photos of some of the messages on another phone. One message spoke about old and low-quality money, something police knew was the case with Sarah's inheritance. This was a big development, and Liam was clearly trying to open up to Anthony about something, so police asked Anthony to try and talk to him more, possibly admit to something small, or at least talk himself into more of a hole. Anthony agreed to help and asked Liam if he wanted to meet for a drive to get things off his chest. Detectives set Anthony up with a very well-hidden microphone and small camera in his car, and on January 31st at 11 p.m, Liam got in.
What's happening, buddy? How you doing? You want a cigarette? No, I'm good. I quit them shits. I was smoking a lot of cigarettes while I was tripping. Really? Yeah. I tripped for like 2 months straight.
He was clearly paranoid and asked his friend if he could check him for a wire. Anthony agreed.
Dude, you can't blame me for doing this, right? I gotta feel you up real quick, alright? You're good. No disrespect. I'll show you. No disrespect, okay? Nothing. Yeah, I got the FBI on my ass, dude. What are they questioning? Oh yeah, a lot. About what? About killing Sarah.
What happened when Liam started talking left everyone stunned. It was far more than a small admission. He had murdered Sarah and had planned everything for months. The motive was purely to get his hands on her inheritance.
I pretty much hung her. I picked her up and had her just dangling off the ground, and she just pissed herself and said my name, and then that was it. And it took me a half an hour to kill her. I thought I was going to be able to choke her out and have her out in a couple minutes.
Oh my God, I am sick. I am literally sick to my stomach. I cannot believe this. First of all, this kid, the filmmaker, I hope he's a documentarian right now. I'm going to look him up as soon as I'm done with this. First of all, that is brave. What he's doing, this is insane. Have you ever seen a psychopath like this in real time? Actually confessing to what he did. Can you listen to how he's talking about the way he killed her? Not a single expression of remorse. Wow, this is crazy. I got to bring it back.
I picked her up and had her just like dangling off the ground, and she just pissed herself and said my name, and then that was it. And it took me a half an hour to kill her. I thought I was going to be able to choke her out and have her out in like a couple minutes. I choked her out, and then she was just laying there having a seizure or something. So then I got a shirt and I just shoved it down her throat so she wouldn't throw up or anything, and held my finger over her nose and set a timer. That's the only time I had my phone, and it took me like a half an hour after I hit start.
He said he had strangled Sarah.
I'm so sick to my stomach right now. This is unfathomable. Hopefully this kid is in jail for life. This is unbelievable. This is why I didn't even realize this part. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. I mean, think about this. They've known each other since they were 6 years old. So somebody that you grew up with, went to school with from 6 years old on, is killing you like that, strangled her, and he's put a timer on his phone. This is sick. This is so sick. STD. He made that poor girl suffer, yes. Elevate with Nate says, that means she was in and out of consciousness because he didn't know how long it would take. How sad to suffer like this. This poor girl. This poor girl. Venom KPP says, DiBRAVA, can we go back to making fun of OnlyFans girls, please? I promise you we will. Not tomorrow, though. Tomorrow is Nate the Great, and he lost over 300 pounds. You guys have to come and tune in on that episode. But I promise you the day after, we will have some more OnlyFans. Oh, my God, this is so sick. This is sick.
He said he had strangled Sarah at her home, so hard in fact he had lifted her off the ground and, in his words, pretty much hung her. Liam said he was worried that Sarah's dog would be a problem, but Buddy just watched.
She goes to walk out the front door. I choke her out, drag her. My biggest problem was the dog, and her dog laid there and watched as I killed her. Didn't do anything. Her fucking dog. What kind of dog? Yeah, what kind of dog is that? It's like some. Was it a beagle? It looks like a beagle, but it's like the size of a Great Dane. Nobody was there? No, nobody was there. Even her dad wasn't there. He was in Florida. I have to leave. I fucking dropped my phone at Sarah's house. My phone was at Sarah's house. Like. Wait, you left your phone? Yeah, I lost it. I couldn't find it. I had to go to work. I had timed everything out so that. Fuck, why did you take your phone? You should have left it in your fucking pocket. Dude. What were you doing? Strangling someone? I couldn't find it, dude. It ended up being out in the driveway. Oh, it must have dropped at you. It must have dropped when I was crawling to get in the car.
Liam said he realised he needed help to get rid of Sarah's body, so he had asked Preston to help him. Preston, he said, knew all about his plan anyway. He'd already agreed to help in exchange for a $3,000 cut of the money, and likely more later when Liam had access to it.
I choke her out, drag her to the back, put her in a bathroom, and then I had to go straight to work. So Preston came over, took the body, put it in the bushes, and then I was at work. I had a full night of work, except I left work a couple times, which looks sketchy. I look for my phone though, which is a reasonable thing to do. Yeah, you gotta look for your phone. Yeah, you can't. Which is kind of like me losing my phone is kind of a good thing, because the cops are like, oh, he's hanging out with her. He lost his phone. He's going back and forth between his house looking for it.
His coldness and arrogance as he recounted everything was astonishing. He frequently smirked and seemed genuinely quite proud of himself and his plan.
I had planned Sarah's situation for me to be interrogated by cops. That was whole part of my plan, to make me look not guilty. And the worst part is, we threw her off the bridge, and the body never showed up. It's probably frozen. It's probably all the way out in the ocean.
He was so fixated on money, literally nothing else mattered to him. And
this is so sick. Now we know why he asked the police if she did jump off the bridge, would her body just be all the way down the Hudson River? I mean, this is unbelievable. Darius Coleman, thank you so much again for the super chat. Either he's weak or she fought like a you know what to live. Can you imagine what this girl went through? Oh my God. And this other sick kid is helping him. Knew his plan all along. For what? For $3,000? $3,000? And Liam went to work after he did this. This is insane. This is sick. This is so sick. My God. Okay.
Anthony sat and listened, knowing he had a job to do, but it took all of his energy to contain his horror at what he was hearing. Liam then drove to work and Preston went to Sarah's house to move her. Liam clocked off at around 10 p.m. and both he and Preston went and picked her up using her own car.
I get off work that night, go straight over. Preston and I go over to her house, take her safe, bring that over to my house before we do anything. Then we take her body out of the bushes and drag it over to her back fence, and I crawl, get into her car, and I back up. There's a security camera across the street, so I had to act like her. I watched her every time she backed out. She does the same thing.
They posed her in the seat as if she was just sleeping.
So I backed out exactly like she did and drove off. Put her in the trunk? No, I put her in the passenger seat of her own car. So I was driving, and I had her buckled in the passenger seat, so she looks like she's just sleeping. She's just sitting up. And my plan was, for me, I underestimated my own strength and how much a dead body would weigh. Because it's wet weight. Yeah. I got up on top of the bridge to throw her off. My plan was I was going to throw her off, run over, jump over the divider, and get into Preston's car. And I go up, open the door, unhook her, pull her out, start dragging her to throw her over, and then cars start coming up. I see like headlights coming. I try to get her over, and I can't. Fuck my leg up. Like the weight from her body, like, made me fall, and my leg like went up. So now I'm limping, my leg's fucked up, and there's 3 cars coming up. So I grab her body. Dude, I had superhuman strength, and I threw it in the car, and I fucking picked it up, and her feet were up here, and her head was down there, and 3 cars go by, and I'm fucking losing my shit, because that easily could have been a cop. And then Preston comes over the bridge, goes around, makes a U-turn, comes up behind me. The 2 of us throw the body over, and then we're out. Oh, so you needed help? I needed help, yeah. She's not even that big of a girl, right? No.
Liam told Anthony that the kid...
Lord Jesus, this is crazy. This is absolutely nuts. This kid is very sick. He is clearly a psychopath. He is a psychopath, among other things. I mean, who knows? Who knows what else he's done, okay, prior to this? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, you know, if he killed others as a young person. Who knows? He's a sick person. And the other one is an accessory. I mean, now you're helping him? Like, what? For money? Are you listening to how he is talking and describing about how he killed her and that he underestimated his own strength because he couldn't just throw her body off the bridge so easily? Think about this. He put her in her own car in the passenger seat and made it look like he was sleeping after he killed her. He had watched for how long, who knows, how she pulled out of her own driveway, crawled to the car so it looked like it was her pulling out, because he realized that there's probably surveillance cameras around that they wouldn't be able to see inside the car, but they could see how she pulled out and how she took off. She does the same way every time, he said. This is so sick. Can you imagine what this girl's father feels like? He already lost his wife to cancer, her mother. And now your daughter is murdered by a childhood friend? Crazy.
The killing had little effect on him. I don't feel any different, and I don't think about it. You always think you're going to try new things and you're going to change, he said. He then went on to complain about the money not being as much as he had hoped for, and the fact that some of it was damaged.
And that's not even the worst part. The worst part of it is I thought I was walking out 50 grand, 100 grand in my pocket. She had one safe, and she took money out, and she only had 10 grand. And this money I don't know if it was burnt or something. It's fucking old money, terrible quality. I don't even know if I can put any of it in the fucking bank.
Right, because it'll probably look sketchy, right?
Looks sketchy, and it'll look like it's Sarah's money, especially if it's a federal investigation.
Right.
If they're looking for the guy who has the fucking old money.
Right, because it's probably like the old dollar bills and shit. It's not like the new shit, because the $100 bills are changing now.
Exactly. Spent a lot of money. And I didn't even get a quarter of it.
Not having a body.
I just can't even believe what I just heard. This kid is so sick. He's sitting here describing that it isn't even that much money. I mean, are you kidding me? You just killed a freaking person. This is insane. Who raised this kid? I would love to know who his parents are. You didn't realize your son was a psychopath? I mean, come on. There wasn't one sign from him being a child to now that something was wrong here. I mean, I'm just curious to know if his parents had any clue or inkling that he was a murderer or could possibly be one. I mean, this is unbelievable. STD says in the chat, I've heard of similar crimes for even less money. This is so grotesque. This is so grotesque. HOTR News, the devil's flashlight is no joke. You bet. You bet. Bonza says, for a few measly thousand. Can you imagine? And then he's describing the money. Do you know how done he is? Can you imagine this kid who's like a high school, well, I think they're in college at this point. But these kids that grew up together, that went to school together, he's sitting in a car with a person that he knows from school that's got a wire on him, and he's telling this whole thing. Can you imagine? The police are probably like, we hit a jackpot beyond. I mean, come on. This is nuts.
Not having a body did not deter the police, and the next day, on February 1st, 2017, Liam and Preston were arrested in connection with the death of Sarah. To say that everyone was shocked at who was arrested was an understatement. If you had a model of a best friend group, then that was them, a classmate said. So I think that's why the whole community is confused, especially like people in our class. That friend group was literally inseparable. Whereas the once talkative Liam was now silent, the initially quiet Preston started talking, and he had a lot to say. He confessed to everything. It was true that Sarah and Liam had spoken about moving to Canada together, but Preston said it was far more manipulative than this. Liam had gone along with it, using her desire to relocate to his advantage, telling her she needed to take out money so they could finalise their plan to move there together. It was on the 2nd of December when the two went to the bank, where Sarah withdrew about $7,000 of the money that she had already locked away. They then returned to her house, and Liam callously killed her. Preston told the authorities where they could recover 2 buried safes in the park, one containing some of Sarah's inheritance, and another containing her clothing. In fact, when Liam was arrested, he had the key to one of the safes on him. Preston showed them around Sarah's house.
Just note that he had the key on him to her safe.
Preston showed them around Sarah's house too, describing what he walked into and what happened when they got to the bridge.
How was Sarah's body positioned in this bathroom?
She was sitting like this, tucked into the corner and leaning over the toilet.
Okay, and her feet were where?
Sticking out into the room. I grabbed her legs and got her over to the fence.
Okay, so you're carrying Sarah by her legs? Are her legs dragging on the ground, or are they up in the air?
I was like holding them up in the air.
And what part of Sarah's body was laying for?
Her torso.
Okay.
And we carried her over to this fence near the safe was. Hoisted her up and over. Threw the safe over. The two of us jumped over.
You're saying Liam had her
by the shoulders and hoisted her up onto the railing. And then I pushed her feet over so that she was going over the rest of the way. As she went over, immediately after her body was up and over the rail. As we were running back to my car, the black Mercury Mystique, we heard loud metallic bang, and that was all.
Okay. Did you have any conversation with Liam about that noise that you heard?
No.
Liam unbelievably pleaded not guilty to everything. Preston, knowing what he was facing, thought differently.
Today, Preston Taylor, on the right of your screen, came clean about money, lies, and murder.
In April 2017, Preston Taylor pleaded guilty to first-degree robbery, second-degree conspiracy to commit robbery, and second-degree disturbing or desecrating human remains, and he agreed to testify against Liam at his trial. Almost 2 years to the day since Sarah was last seen, Liam McAtasney's trial started. Monmouth County prosecutors had only ever tried one case before without a body, so there was nervous energy as the trial started. Liam had already fired his original lawyer, and his new one was pushing to keep his taped confession out of court. His argument was that if there was no body, there was no cause or time of death, and quite frankly, no way of proving anything. The taped confession was huge, but Liam had an excuse. A ridiculous story that Liam's confession to Anthony was simply an attempt to get into one of his films, and it was all a poorly worded audition that Anthony had used to frame him. However, their attempts to prevent the tape from being shown proved fruitless, and Anthony Curry was also allowed to testify. Liam didn't speak in court at all, or testify in his own defence. Along with all of the evidence in the recording and just how graphic and specific Liam had been, Preston also testified.
Specifically decided that Liam was strangling. Any other way, any type of weapon would have been too messy, left a lot of evidence. And then as far as what to do with her after she was dead, we talked about a couple of plans, burying her down at the campsite that made us dad owns, just leaving her at the house. And then ultimately we decided that the best way to go about it would be to make it look like a suicide.
Now there's a verdict in the case.
Hold on. Okay, before we get to this verdict, can you imagine this kid pleaded not guilty? And then he doesn't even testify at the trial. You did all that talking to the police. You did all that talking to the filmmaker you went to school with. And now you're all of a sudden you're silent. You have nothing to say. And he had the audacity to try and use the fact that he made it all up as an audition to be in one of Anthony, the filmmaker's films. Is he nuts? I mean, you have to be kidding me. What lawyer told him that that was a good idea? I'm just curious. Unbelievable. Let me look at the chat. Darius Coleman again. Keep your friends at a distance and enemies close. The folks you call friends tend to envy the most some. If you give them a rope, burn the bridge. Don't give them a boat. Let them sink. Cassidy, 2004. Wow. Thank you so much, Darius, for the super chat, for all your super chats tonight. Thank you for always supporting my lives. I appreciate you. This is nuts. I'm dying to see what this verdict is actually going to be, which is what I'm about to play you. And Nikki, yes, I'm glad you answered that question because STD58, I had the same question. I'm like, why is he in a firefighter's uniform giving them a tour of how they killed this girl? And Nikki explained that it's kind of to disguise him to protect their investment because you don't know when somebody could have came and shot him. The parents of Liam could have came and shot him so that he wouldn't testify. Crazy. Okay, I digress. Let's see what this verdict is.
Now there's a verdict in the case of a New Jersey man accused of killing his high school friend for her inheritance. He's been found guilty.
Guilty. Liam McAtasney was found guilty on 7 counts, including first-degree murder, felony murder, and robbery. As the verdict was read out, he started crying, something prosecutors said was completely for show. It was all fake, and he cared about nothing but himself. That so much was obvious. Before the sentencing, it would have been Sarah's 22nd birthday, and Michael took some balloons and flowers to the bridge for her.
The most important thing is to get justice for Sarah. She was a great kid and never should have ended like this. Thank everybody. Thank you.
Breaking news in Freehold, New Jersey, where a 21-year-old man has just been sentenced to life in prison.
The now 21-year-old was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Preston Taylor was later sentenced to 18 years in prison and is eligible for parole in 2032. Preston said, "So many things about this scenario I wish I could take back. I should have known better and done something to stop this, and I wish more than anything I had." But the judge said he was just as culpable and did everything apart from strangle her. Both of them appealed their sentences, but both were told it was a no. The fact that Liam could have plotted to do this to one of his so-called best friends of almost 15 years, and Preston, who went along with everything, all over some money, was frightening. Megan, Liam's mum, said she still does not believe her son would do this, saying he loved and adored Sarah and there was not a single part of her that ever thought he had anything to do with what happened. It should also be noted that without the help of Anthony securing that confession, they might not have ever known what happened, let alone got a conviction. Would Liam ever have confided in anyone else apart from Preston? Would the truth have ever come out? Police think probably not. Anthony said, "I'll live with this stuff for the rest of my life. Back then he was a great friend, one of my best friends. He'd give you the shirt off his back. Now he's dead. He's a killer. If somebody is capable of doing that, he could try to hurt my family or somebody I knew. You don't believe somebody would do something like that. So it's heartbreaking in a sense. Somebody who's your good friend, you don't think they would do something like that. It was an innocent person." It really is one of the most senseless and shocking cases. The fact she had died at the hands of one of her closest and most trusted friends is awful in and of itself, but thinking about just how long and painful that half an hour would have felt makes it all the more agonising. When Liam and Preston heard about her inheritance, it seemed they instantly turned on her, viewing their friend as nothing more than financial gain. They went to the most extreme lengths for greed, and the only thing that Liam was even remotely upset about was the fact it wasn't as much money as he had hoped for. They both spent 2 months calculating every single move to continue to cover up her murder, joining in with the searches and supporting Sarah's family at the same time. Despite the searches for Sarah, her remains have never been found and probably never will be. An expert said that her body would likely have been swept out to sea in less than an hour, and within a day, she would have been miles away into the Atlantic Ocean. Her community continues to remember her as she was such an involved and big part of so many lives. Her old school started a scholarship in her honour. They host charity football games where money can be raised for the scholarship, which is awarded to one art student each year. Sarah Stern was well on her way to achieving some amazing things. It was her and Buddy against the world, and she was ready for fresh starts in new places. In her mind, she would be moving to Canada to pursue art with her best friend Liam, and how sad that story now is to think about. Her friends said her incredible talent when it came to art should be her legacy. She should be remembered as an amazing artist and the kind-hearted, loyal and positive person she was. For Michael to have lost his wife and then his daughter in the space of just a few years, the heartbreak and sadness he must live with is hard to imagine. He said that when he heard Sarah had been killed and dumped by her best friends, people he knew so well, nothing made sense anymore. And it has left his world empty and without trust. He said, "My life has been on hold. You never know what might trigger a thought of Sarah. I have a huge hole in my heart, and nothing can ever make it whole."
What a senseless, disgusting crime for nothing. For nothing. The life of a young girl, Sarah Stern, to be brutally murdered like that by someone that she knew since the age of 6. I mean, think about that father. He's lost a wife, now lost a daughter. And talk about closure. Can you imagine something like that happening to someone close to you? And hearing it and seeing it on tape? I mean, that Anthony, the filmmaker, to be able to get that footage and him to confess like that. Brilliant. Think about it. They would have actually gotten away with this. If he hadn't talked, they would have actually gotten away with this. How many of these cases are there like that? That somebody does something so heinous, such a disgusting, heinous crime like this, and just doesn't speak and actually gets away with murder. The body was never recovered. there was no real other way to prove anything. Think about it. If he hadn't talked, I wonder what would have happened. Absolutely very, very sad. Absolutely horrific. I feel for that father, the people in that town. And the one thing I will say, it's very difficult for me to believe that Liam's mother didn't realize that something was wrong. Okay, they knew something was wrong the moment that they called a lawyer for him. Guys, I hope you had fun tonight. Thank you for tuning in with me. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for coming in. STD, congratulations on being cancer-free again. Chris Mike, thank you so much for coming in. Very tragic situation and so young. Absolutely, Chris. Bonza, so sad. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming in, Bonza. Nikki, as always, thank you a million for holding down the chat. Drew Boo was in here earlier. Thank you so much for coming in. Darius Coleman, thank you for your generosity and for all your super chats and for being here. HOTR News, if you are not following him, please go follow him every morning, 8:30 my time, Eastern Standard Time, and I think 7:30 on his time. He is in Nashville. He has a live stream about cops. They're called Bad Apples. Check them out. Thank you again, everybody who was in this chat. U-Haul was in here earlier. Elevate with Nate, you're the best. And we have a show tomorrow with Elevate and Nate. Anybody who is available, please come and join us. He lost over 300 pounds with a broken back and neck, all on his own. No Ozempic involved. It's a crazy story. Come join us. Thank you so much, guys. I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks for being here. I'm DiBRAVA. See you next time.
Yeah, look, boy, DiBRAVA on the mic, speak the truth and light. I'm DiBRAVA. Here to bring the news with a touch of comedy and a hint of blues. Culture Club USA, we're here to amuse. Showing you the mirror, no time to snooze. Madness in the world, it's all around. But through hip-hop, we'll break new ground. Speaking truth, making our sound. In this crazy world, we'll stand our ground. DiBRAVA on the mic, speaking truth and light. Culture Club USA, shining bright in the night. Hip-hop music, our weapon in the fight. Bringing meaning to the madness, taking flight. DiBRAVA on the mic, speaking truth and light. Culture Club USA, shining bright in the night. Hip-hop music, our weapon in the fight. Bringing meaning to the madness, taking flight. From the streets to the stage, we'll make our mark. Spit in rhymes that ignite the spark. Speaking for the voices, leaving a lasting mark. In this world of chaos, we'll leave a lasting arc. Through comedy and music, we'll make a stand. Bringing awareness to every land. Culture Club USA, we'll expand our message of unity, hand in hand. DiBRAVA on the mic, speaking truth and light. Culture Club USA, shining bright in the night. Hip-hop music, our weapon in the fight. Bringing meaning to the madness, taking flight. DiBRAVA on the mic, speaking truth and light. Culture Club USA, shining bright in the night. Hip-hop music, our weapon in the fight. Bringing meaning to the madness, taking flight. In a world full of noise, we'll be the voice. Speaking for the people, giving them a choice to rise above the madness, find their own voice. In this hip-hop culture, we'll rejoice. DiBRAVA on the mic, speaking truth and light. Culture Club USA, shining bright in the night. Hip-hop music, our weapon in the fight. Bringing meaning to the madness, taking flight. DiBRAVA on the mic, speaking truth and light. Culture Club USA, shining bright in the night. Hip-hop music, our weapon in the fight. Bringing meaning to the madness, taking flight. So listen up to the words we say. In this world of madness, we'll find a way. Through hip-hop music, we'll pave the day. DiBRAVA and Culture Club USA, here to stay. DiBRAVA, with the mode of the Club USA, here to stay. DiBRAVA on the mic, speaking truth and light. Culture Club USA, shining bright in the night. Hip-hop music, our weapon in the fight. Bringing meaning to the madness, taking flight. In a world full of noise, we'll be the voice. Speaking for the people, giving them a choice to rise above the madness, find their own voice. They'll rise above the madness, find their own voice. In this hip-hop culture, we'll rejoice. Here to stay.